Hello students, hi, welcome you to the new video lecture on your tribology. This is Amarathi, your tribology teacher. Well, in the last video lecture, we completed your first unit, that is Introduction to Tribology and Many Things. So in this video lecture, we are going to start your second unit, that is Friction and Wear. So before starting anything, you have to read the whole thing. So for that, you have to know what exactly we are going to study, that is your syllabus. Okay, so your second unit mainly involves with the friction and wear, only friction and wear. So we are going to study your introduction part to friction. What are the different laws of friction, kinds of friction, how friction is going to arise, like causes of friction, and what are the area of contact we are going to involve when we have a friction, how we are going to measure friction, then what are the different theories of friction. Then second comes is your second part, that is wear. So we are going to study the introduction to wear, types of wear, what are the various factors affecting wear, measurement and how we are going to measure wear between solids and flowing liquids, and finally the theories of wear. Okay, so second unit is your small unit, just it is going to involve friction and wear, just the simple basic concepts. Okay, so let's go for introduction to friction. Okay, before that, let me tell you what is friction. Friction is just simply, if I tell you the friction, it is the resisting force, opposing force. Okay, if we have two rubbing surfaces, it is going to offer friction between the surfaces. So friction can be defined as the resisting force to any relative tangential motion between two solid bodies or any surfaces which are in contact with each other. So frictional force always acts opposite in the direction, or direction opposite to that of a motion. Okay, so friction exists when an attempt is made to initiate the motion. When we are going to have a motion, friction is going to exist, and also during the motion we have a friction. And you have to know friction as an undesirable effect, where we are going to have friction as a undesirable effect, like it is considered as a nuisance actually. So large proportion of energy is produced in the world is consumed in friction itself. It is just wasted, we can say like this. And greater evil than friction is actually the wear, which is usually associated with friction itself. So this is the factor more than any other which is going to shorten the effective life of a machine or its any components. Okay, for example, the difference between the weight of a new machine and any other machine which is quite worn out has only a few matter of grams or kilograms, but the new machine and the wear out machine is absolutely obsolete. Okay, we cannot use it as a original as one. So friction as desirable effect, where we can find it. For example, friction between driving and driven plates in friction clutches. Okay, there is a friction, that's why clutches works. There is a friction, that's why brakes works. Okay, like shoe and drum brakes, right? And we have a desirable effect of friction between belt and pulleys, friction between automobile tire and road, friction between any locomotive wheels and rails. So there may be a friction between road and shoes while walking, that's why we are walking. So these are the desirable and undesirable effects of friction. Okay, so next comes is your laws of friction. So if you want to know what exactly the friction, you have to know the laws of friction. Well, the first comes is the frictional force is directly proportional to the normal load between two contacting surfaces, because when we have two contacting surfaces, there is a frictional force and there is a normal load. So frictional force is directly proportional to the normal load between two contacting surfaces. So higher the load, higher friction we are going to have. So if I mathematically express it, So frictional force is termed as capital F, which is directly proportional to the normal load W. So F is directly proportional to W. If I equate it, F is equal to small f into W, where small f is the coefficient of friction, where capital F is frictional force in Newton and W is normal load between the two contacting surfaces in Newton itself. So F is directly proportional to, or F is equal to small f into W. So if I define what is coefficient of friction, the small f, it is the frictional force per unit normal load. Like F is equal to F into W, that is capital F equal to small f into W. So if I take that one here, so small f is equal to capital F divided by W. What is that? The frictional force per unit normal load. And you have to know on which things or which criteria the coefficient of frictions depends upon. It depends on the type of motion between two contacting surfaces. So what different type of motion we are having, so it depends on that. And material for the contacting surfaces, if we have a pair of contacting surfaces, we have to know what is the material. If we have a different material, we are going to have the different coefficient of friction. Then surface finish of two contacting surfaces. If we have less surface finish, we are going to have higher coefficient of friction. So if we have very fine finish, we are going to have less coefficient of friction. So the first law of friction is applicable over the wide range of loads. So second one is this capital F frictional force and coefficient of friction is independent of apparent area of contact between two surfaces, and it is depends on actual area of contact. So you may have to ask me what is apparent area of contact and independent or actual area of contact. So apparent area of contact is that geometrical area of contact between two surfaces. Okay, any geometrical contact or geometrical area of contact between two surfaces is known as apparent area of contact. So now we have to know what is the real area of contact. The actual area of contact zone is known as real area of contact, because the surface roughness or because of asperities, normally the contacting surfaces cannot make contact all over the surfaces. If we have two contacting surfaces, all over the surfaces we are not going to have the contact. Okay, so the actual area of contact where we have a roughness or we having the asperities is known as the real area of contact. And the real area of contact is always less than the geometrical area of contact. Okay, though the frictional force is independent of this apparent area of contact between two surfaces, and it is independent upon the real area of contact. Okay, so next law of friction, the third one is the frictional force and coefficient of friction is independent of the sliding velocity. Independent of sliding velocity, because this law is applicable over a small range of sliding velocities. Well, if I show you the diagram, well, I cannot show you the diagram here because I haven't added. But I can tell you, for all the practical purpose, the coefficient of friction can be considered as constant over the small range of sliding velocity. Okay. Well, the next one is the static friction is greater than kinetic friction. So to know this law, you have to know what is static friction and kinetic friction. So simple, the name itself indicates static and kinetic. Static friction is the friction between the contacting surfaces at the start of the motion. Before starting the motion or initially we have the motion, and that is called as static friction. So kinetic friction is the friction between the contacting surfaces during the motion. Okay. So if we initiated the motion, started the motion, and if we are having the friction, and that is called as kinetic friction. So static friction between the contacting surface is always greater than the kinetic friction. Yes, of course. Because initially when we haven't have the higher motion, we are definitely going to have the higher friction. Okay. So these are the laws of friction. Well, next comes is your types or classification of friction. Okay. So we well, in the nature we have very different nature and very different classifications of the friction. So based on many things, based on many like relative motion, relative type of relative motion, lubrication between the contacting surfaces, we classified friction. Well, initially the friction is classified based on relative motion. Okay. So based on the status of relative motion between the contacting surfaces, the friction is classified into two types. One is static friction and the second one is kinetic friction. Well, just now I said static friction and kinetic friction. The static friction is the friction between the contacting surfaces at the start of the relative motion, and that is the static motion. Static, the name itself indicates static in the sense when we haven't have the motion, or a simple sense, if we have a very less motion and the friction between the two surfaces is called as static friction. Well, the coefficient of static friction is given by, well, I said the small f is directly proportional to, or small f is equal to frictional force divided by normal load between the contacting surfaces. So static friction, the coefficient of static friction, you can write it as Fs equal to F, the capital Fs divided by W, where capital Fs is the static force of friction in Newton, and same W is normal load between the contacting surfaces in Newton, and F, small Fs is coefficient of static friction. Okay, nothing, everything is same. Well, based on the status of relative motion, the second one is kinetic friction. Kinetic friction is the friction between contacting surfaces during the relative motion. If we have a relative motion, during the relative motion, friction arises, and that is called as kinetic friction, where the coefficient of kinetic friction is given by F, small fk equal to capital Fk divided by W, where small fk equal to coefficient of kinetic friction, capital Fk equal to kinetic force of friction in Newton, and W is same, normal load between the contacting surfaces. Well, as per your fourth law, the coefficient of static friction is higher than the coefficient of kinetic friction. Well, the second classification is based on the type of relative motion. Till now we have the status of relative motion, where we have a relative motion or we haven't have the relative motion. Well, the second one is based on the type of relative motion. If we have a different type of relative motion, we are going to have the different friction type. So based on the type of relative motion between the contacting surfaces, the friction is classified into two types. One is sliding friction, while the second one is rolling friction. Well, what is sliding friction? Well, I said it is based on the type of relative motion. If we have a sliding motion, the friction between the two surfaces is known as sliding friction. If we have a rolling motion between the two surfaces which are in contact to each other, and the friction between those surfaces is called as rolling friction. So, but if I define it in a proper manner, sliding friction is the friction between contacting surfaces having relative sliding motion. Okay. For example, where we are having sliding friction, sliding motion, like in journal bearings we have sliding motion, or friction between any mating gear. Okay. You have seen the spur gears. There we are having the sliding motion. So the friction arises, and that is called as sliding friction. You may have seen the piston and cylinder, right? So the friction between the piston and cylinder is the sliding motion, and many examples or many etc examples will fall into the sliding friction type. Well, the second one is rolling friction. Rolling friction is the friction between the contacting surfaces having relative rolling motion. Okay, relative rolling motion. So, for example, where we are having rolling motions, you may have seen bearings where we are having rolling contact bearings. The friction arises, the friction occurs between the rolling contact bearings is known as rolling friction. Or simple example is the automobile tire and road. We have a flat road and tire is rolling onto it. So friction occurs between the tire and road. So that friction is rolling friction. Or simply friction between the locomotive wheel and rails. Okay, you may have seen the railways. So we have a rail and a wheel. So friction between them is known as rolling friction. Well, this overs the status of, based on the status of relative motion, based on the type of relative motion, and the third comes is based on the lubrication between the contacting surfaces. The type of lubricants or the type of lubrication process we are using between two contacting surfaces is known as, or on that based we are going to have different frictions. So based on the lubrication between the contacting surfaces, the friction is classified into four types. Well, the first one is dry friction, second is boundary friction, third one is fluid or viscous friction, and the fourth one is mixed friction. Okay, well, we see one by one what exactly they are. First one is dry friction. Okay, if there is no lubrication between the contacting surfaces, the friction is known as dry friction because it is a dry lubricant. Like we aren't using any type of lubricants between the contacting surfaces. If there is no lubrication between the contacting surfaces, then it is dry friction. For example, we have a brake shoes and brake drums. You may have seen. We don't use lubrication between brake shoes and drum. That's why brakes apply. If we use lubricants between them, brakes will not apply. Okay, so it is going to cause the accidents. So that is one of the major example, that is brake shoe and drum. And friction in dry type clutches. We have many types of clutches. One of that is dry type clutch. Okay, and of course friction between locomotive wheel and rail. We don't have to use the lubrication between them. Otherwise it is very tedious for us to control it. So that is about dry friction. Well, the second one is boundary friction. Well, boundary friction is the friction between the contacting surfaces which are separated by one or more molecular layers of lubricant is known as boundary friction. Well, in a simple sense, if we have a very thin layer of lubricant between two contacting surfaces, it is known as boundary friction. So in a proper manner, if I define it, if we have a contacting surface and those contacting surfaces are separated by just one or two molecular layers of the lubricant, very thin layer of lubricant, then that is known as boundary friction. Well, in such cases, there is boundary lubrication between the contacting surfaces, which is due to strong adhesion of the lubricant to the contacting surfaces. We are going to have a strong adhesion of the lubricant, which is having the strong, it is going to adhere itself with the contacting surfaces. And the boundary friction exists when load is very high, load is very heavy, or sliding speed is very low. Okay, so if we have a higher load, heavy load, or if we have a slow or a slow sliding speed, low sliding speed, then we are going to have the boundary friction. Okay. Then what are the examples of the boundary friction?
Sir?
The examples of the boundary friction is the friction in cutting tools. You may have seen the cutting tools. We have a very thin layer of what is that? Very thin layer of lubricants between the two contacting surfaces, right? Then the friction in wire drawing dies. If we have a wire drawing dies, we have a very thin layer of or boundary friction, and there is a friction between power screws. Okay, power screws, that is the boundary friction. Friction in journal bearing, at the starting and stoppage we are going to have the boundary friction. Okay. Well, the third type of the friction we have based on the lubrication between the contacting surfaces is the fluid friction or viscous friction. Okay. Well, if I explain you the fluid friction, how can I define it in a simple sense? As I said in the second one, we have a very thin layer of the lubricant between the two contacting surfaces. Well, in the fluid or viscous friction, the friction between the contacting surfaces which are separated by a fluid film. Okay, the name itself indicates fluid friction or viscous friction. The two contacting surfaces which are separated by a film of fluid. Okay, if it is separated by a fluid film, then it is known as fluid friction. And here the fluid or viscous friction is due to the viscosity of the fluid film. We have a viscosity of the fluid film, that's why we are going to have a fluid or viscous friction. Well, some of the applications of the fluid friction or viscous friction is friction in hydrostatic bearings, right? Hydrostatic bearings, we have what are hydrostatic bearings, what are hydrodynamic bearings, all this we are going to study in next chapters. Okay, so for examples of fluid friction is friction in hydrostatic bearings and friction in hydrodynamic bearings. Well, next comes the fourth one is your mixed friction. If the contacting surfaces are partially separated by a fluid film and there is a partial surface to surface contact, then the friction between them is known as mixed friction. The name of this one is mixed one. Mixed in the sense it is going to have both fluid film and also there is a surface to surface contact, then it is known as mixed friction. While the mixed friction condition is between the boundary friction and fluid friction condition. It is a mixed friction or condition between the boundary friction and fluid friction condition. So these are the types of friction. We classified it based on the relative motion, classified it based on the type of relative motion, classified it based on the lubrication between the contacting surfaces. So next comes is your causes of friction. Causes in the sense why friction occurs, why friction happens. Okay. Well, the friction between the contacting surfaces is due to the interaction between the asperities actually, because when two surfaces are in contact and they are one having the relative motion to another, there are some interactions between the surfaces. Okay, if we have a straight surface, if we think we have a very smoother surfaces, but if microbial form, if you see it, we have many asperities, on the surfaces. So there is an interaction between these asperities in the two contacting surfaces. Okay, so there are two types of interaction between the contacting surfaces. When we have the contacting surfaces which are having relative motion, then we are going to have two different types of interaction between the contacting surfaces. Well, the types of interaction between the contacting surfaces is first one adhesion, second one is deformation. So these are the causes of friction. If friction occurs, adhesion may be responsible or deformation may be responsible. or the combined effect of adhesion and deformation is also responsible or the causes of friction. Let's see the adhesion. What is adhesion? Well, when two surfaces are actually pressed together, the contact occurs at the asperities on the two contacting surfaces. Asperities in the sense we aren't having the straight surfaces. Those are called as the asperities. When two surfaces are pressed together, the contact occurs at the asperities on the two contacting surfaces. Well, I said we have apparent area of contact and real area of contact, where apparent area of contact is the geometrical area of contact between two surfaces. Whatever the geometrical area which are in contact is known as apparent area of contact, and the actual area of contact zone is known as real area of contact, because the surface roughness or because of asperities, the contacting surfaces cannot make the contact all over the surfaces. The real area of contact is always less than the geometrical area of contact. Like the real area of contact between the two surfaces is very small actually. The real area of contact, which is going to range from just 0.01% to 25% of the apparent area or whole gross area, not more than 25%. Depends on the surface roughness and the load. It is directly proportional to the load. It is going to increase if we increase the load. So in case of metals, the real area of contact can be estimated by measuring the electrical resistance across the surfaces of the metals when they are in contact. Okay. And if I explain you about deformation or adhesion, at the areas of the plastic deformation, the contact pressure is so high that the contacting surfaces get cold welded. This cold welded between the two contacting surfaces is known as adhesion. Okay, this is known as adhesion. If the surfaces are to be tangentially moved in the other direction, the force is required to cause the shear failure of these cold welded junctions. Okay, and this force is known as frictional force. Okay, this force is known as frictional force. So this is about adhesion. Well, next comes is your deformation. In addition to adhesion, the friction is also due to the deformation of the contacting surfaces. So when two surfaces are in sliding contact, the asperities or the harder surface and entrapped wear particle penetrates, and it is going to plow into the softer surface. It is going to deepen. It is going to go deeper into the softer surfaces. It is going to plow out the softer surfaces. So this plowing not only increases the friction but also create the wear particles. So this is the deformation. If we are having two contacting surfaces and it is going to deform, that is also going to cause the friction. Okay. And finally, the combined effect of adhesion and deformation also the cause of friction. The friction between the two contacting surfaces is due to the combined effect, adhesion and deformation. The total frictional force is actually the addition of frictional forces due to adhesion and due to deformation or plowing, we can say that, because it is a combined effect. Let me tell you again, the total frictional force in combined effect is the addition of frictional forces due to adhesion and due to deformation, and the total coefficient of friction is also the addition of coefficient of friction due to adhesion and the coefficient of friction due to deformation. Okay, so this is about your introduction to wear, different classifications of the wear, classifications of the friction and causes of friction. Okay, so in next video lecture we are going to start your theories of friction. There are three different types of theories of friction. One is Coulomb's theory of interlocking, Tomlinson's theory of molecular attraction, and Bowden and Tabor's theory of simple adhesion. Okay, we are going to start that one along with Along with, we have a deformation theory also, we will study that too. Okay, then we have some vibration effect, rolling frictions, friction measurement methods also. We are going to have it in your next chapter. Okay, so thank you very much.